This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Virginia McConnell.
Welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast Live. Are you in need of an animal ambulance? One might be closer than you think. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing your good neighbor, Cheryl Brady, with Vet Care Express Animal Ambulance. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah. We're excited to hear about you and your business and how this all started. So can you tell us a little bit about your company?
Yeah, Vet Care Express Animal Ambulance, I describe it to people, we're just like a human ambulance. So we're trained, equipped, and experienced for any type of pet emergency. So we've been doing this in Manatee, Sarasota since 2010. And in that time, we've been able to help over 19,000 pets and their pet families. So, when people need help, we're there to be able to help them get the veterinary care that they need.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I've not heard of a company that does this, so that's really exciting.
Yeah, we love what we do. I get to say I love what we do every single day.
Yeah. So how did you get into this?
Well, I was a pre-vet student 45 years ago back in college. And I'd had the idea. It made so much sense to me back then, but back then it didn't seem to be, it got a good grade, the paper got a good grade, but it didn't seem to be a viable industry in the pet industry at that time because it wasn't what it is today. Today we have so many specialists and cancer specialists and all types of resources for our pet veterinary care. So back in 2008, I was in corporate America. I had a great job. I was very successful, but I just didn't feel like I was in the right place, So
Yeah.
started praying and asking for guidance, and even retelling the story, I messed up again because it really was an epiphany moment for me. A friend had hit a dog, and I was in my corporate office doing my regular thing, and I ran to help her, and right there and then I'm like, where would I be able to take the dog? How would I have handled it properly? Now, animal services had already gotten there by the time I was there, but all these thoughts, where's the nearest vet? How could I have handled that dog properly? And literally light bulbs went off, started crying, the whole thing. So I just knew right. And then, 10 minutes later, the thought comes in, you wrote a paper about this 40 years ago, you big dummy, so, so I just started researching. I was shocked. I researched and I said, this is what I'm meant to do. And it didn't exist, so I looked, I'm like, you've got to be kidding, because ever since I've started it, I've had people from all over saying it makes so much sense. We need this, and again, just in our small area, 19,000 pets that we've been able to help. And it's not just emergencies. People think big dogs it's all over the spectrum. We have pet parents that can't get their pet to the care they need because they have health issues. They can't handle it. The pet may be too large, or the pet may, it's in pain, so it may bite. We capture a lot of cats. We capture for people, and we either capture, crate them, and take them to the vet, or sometimes we'll just crate them for an owner. They're able to drive and handle a carrier, but they just need that amount of help. So we provide that type of help all across the spectrum. We have folks whose pets may pass away at home. I mean, what are you going to do? Who's going to help you? So we do that as well. We work with the crematoriums. We work with all the veterinarians, all the crematoriums, to be able to provide people that resource to get their pet help. All pet owners want to do is give their pet the very best that they can. And we're part, we're not vets. We're not here to replace vets, but we're part of that, of the industry to be able to provide that help.
Wow. And you're saying all these services that you offer, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're filling a gap, that's
Yeah, it's funny because I'll have friends that have known what I do for years and years and years, but until I had one friend, back in the early days, and her dog all of a sudden she had a neurological reaction to a medicine, and she just, she was a mess. She was so upset, didn't realize, and at first, and she knows what I do, but at first didn't really think of calling us for that because um, we're not used to having it. People aren't used to having that service for their pets. So once she comes, she goes, "Oh my gosh, this is exactly what you do." So again,
yeah.
we're trained, equipped. We have the proper equipment and experience. With 19,000 pets, we've experienced just about everything.
Okay. Well, what are some myths and misconceptions in your industry?
I think the biggest one, and again, I just hear this secondhand and usually after the fact, but I think people think that we're going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars. People think we're going to be priced like human ambulances, and we actually price. We're very, very affordable because I do not want. One of my missions was I don't want people not being able to use our service that they need because of a money problem. I would rather get the pet the help that they need, and we can worry about any finances later. So we're not nearly as expensive as people perceive us to be because we're called an animal ambulance.
Okay. And well, we know marketing is a heart of every business. Who are your target customers and how do you attract them?
Actually, any pet owner, because you just never know when you're going to need help. I mean, certainly any large dog owner, any elderly owner, but there's all kinds of times we'll get uh, calls from somebody who I had a woman who was college age and had taken her dog home. It had had surgery a couple of days previous, but now it wasn't acting right, and she was so upset, and so she didn't know what to do. She was just so upset that it wasn't acting right that she couldn't drive like that and shouldn't drive like that, and you can't both drive and comfort your pet. So again, that's so it's really all pet owners should know that we're at least out here, because if they don't need us now, they may need us in the future, or one of their friends or loved ones may need us.
Yeah, it's like a company you want to have as an emergency, always just there that
Yeah, we have a lot of people. I get a lot of calls because people have us in their phone under animal ambulance that they know they can call us right away. Um, so it's just to know that we're here, and our main stream of market, it really is through word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then have you ever thought about having your own podcast?
I have not.
Yeah.
But I mean, it has crossed my mind. I don't know how they work. I haven't, you know, I love what I do so much that I kind of, I should probably do more of the expansion and and things like that. But uh, I love being able, every time I get a call, I love being able to go out and help somebody with their pet. So, if you ask for a weakness, how in every interview they ask what's your weakness, that would be my weakness. Is that I
Yeah.
love being able to physically go out and help with the pet, so that I'm not looking at other things like podcasts or, what we can offer. I also teach pet CPR. I've taught hundreds of people pet CPR. So, any way we can help our pet community, because you know how blessed we are in Sarasota, with our pet community.
Oh, that's awesome. Cheryl, can you please tell our listeners one thing they should remember about Vet Care Express Animal Ambulance?
The main thing I want them to remember is we're here. We're here to help. It's not only emergency, and we know who is where, when. We know all the resources. We work with all the veterinary hospitals, all the veterinary ERs, specialties, surgeons, neurologists. So if you have a question, you're just not quite sure, where to turn or who can answer your question, we're here. That's what we're here for, to help.
Okay. And how can our listeners learn more about Vet Care Express Animal Ambulance?
If you just Google, if you can't remember Vet Care Express Animal Ambulance, if you just Google Animal Ambulance, we're the first one that'll come up. I can give the phone number here. You want me to give the phone number here?
Sure.
Yeah, it's 941-592-5131, 941-592-5131. And that it barks right to my phone. Believe me, it wakes me up in the middle of the night. And if for some reason we're on another call with a pet, just leave a message. We answer. We'll get right back to you. But our website, and we're on Facebook. Lots of success stories on Facebook. So, but give a call anytime if you need a resource and you're not quite sure where to turn.
Okay. Well, Cheryl, I really appreciate you being on the show, and I wish you and your company the best moving forward.
Again, thank you so much for having us, Virginia. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpsarasota.com. That's gnpsarasota.com, or call 941-949-1865.